Hello, friends. I'm Aria from Chicago. Before I tell you my incredible story, please like and subscribe. I know everyone thinks their dads are strong, but I knew for a fact that mine was the strongest. He was an Army major and I was super proud of him, but because of his job, he was gone for months. Mom left us when I was a baby, so Grandma took care of me in Dad's absence. But when I was in 7th grade, he gave me the best news ever. He was getting remarried and I was getting a new mom and a sister. Dad got me the most gorgeous pink dress for his wedding, and everyone couldn't stop gushing about how pretty I looked. Until my stepsister Jenny crashed into me and spilled her orange juice all over my hair and clothes. I'm so sorry. There was a bee chasing me. It's okay. The wedding's over anyway. My stepmom doted on me, and Jenny, well, she was also pretty awesome. But sometimes she went overboard with her kindness. Aria, I made these napkins for you. With my own hands. That would have been cute if Jenny hadn't made that out of the dress I wore on our parents' wedding day. Once, Jenny and I were playing in a nearby park, and after a few hours, we felt hungry, so Jenny went home to fetch something to eat. Suddenly, I heard her screaming, so I ran to her and found one of our neighbors holding her by her collar. "What are you doing, Mrs. Sparkley?" "I caught this little thief trying to break into your home. She was crawling through the kitchen window." "That's because I forgot the key and no one's home." "Yeah, she's not a thief. She's my sister." "Your sister? I'm sorry, honey. You're so pretty. You both don't look related at all." It was true that Jenny and I looked different, but the way Mrs. Sparkley said that made me feel bad. And Jenny looked ready to explode. "And you look like you're related to a family of pigs. Here, eat some dirt." Jenny grabbed a fistful of mud, threw it on Mrs. Sparkley's face, and ran away. Dad had to face the anger of a furious Mrs. Sparkley for an hour that evening. Soon, Jenny joined my school, and I was glad to introduce her to my friends. But I noticed that she tried to copy me in everything. We ended up buying the same clothes. She joined the school's drama club like me, and she even brought pasta to school every day like me, even though she hated it. Then one day, I got to know she wanted to play the role I was auditioning for in the school play, so I simply stepped back to give her the chance. And she did manage to land the role. When we got home, she happily broke the news to Mom and Dad. But just then, Dad got a call, and when he hung up, he cried with joy.
"It was your drama teacher. Some casting director watched your recent play, and he wants to cast you in an upcoming teen movie."
I was ecstatic. Dad said he'd take us all to dinner at a fancy restaurant to celebrate. But that night, Jenny got a bad headache, and Mom had to stay back to take care of her. After that day, I started getting popular in school. Everyone suddenly wanted to hang out with me, but I felt Jenny slowly growing distant. She no longer wanted to play with me at home, and at school, she'd often say awful things to embarrass me. "Did you guys know that Aria ate her bookers when she was little? Ew! And she loves smelling her socks after a sweaty gym session." Whenever I told Mom about it, Jenny started crying like a baby and said she was just having some harmless fun. 6 months passed, and one day, Dad got a call that he and his team had to leave for Afghanistan immediately. A couple of days after Dad left, we got the most terrible news. Dad and a few of his teammates had gone missing. I was devastated, but Mom and Jenny acted like everything was normal. It was Jenny's birthday in a week, and both of them were busy planning for the party. "Aria, should I get a Barbie cake or a unicorn cake? How can you even think about celebrating when there's still no news about Dad? It's my 13th birthday. I can't let anyone ruin it. Besides, who knows if he'll ever be found?" That made me so angry, I gave Jenny a tight slap. She pounced on me and we fought like wildcats until Mom pulled us apart. When she heard what happened, she grounded me for a week. But when the party was in full swing, I may have sneaked into the kitchen and sprinkled some extra pepper in the food and poured a bottle of vinegar into the lemonade. "Mom, I feel like I ate the sun. Get me some lemonade, quick." "What did you mix in it? It tastes like pee." Ugh. The party was ruined. And obviously, it didn't take long for Mom and Jenny to figure out who was responsible for it.
"Your daddy spoiled you way too much, Aria. But now it's time to knock some sense into that pretty little head of yours."
Mom placed a mop bucket in front of me and asked me to clean the kitchen. Just then, I saw Jenny walk out of my room with all my favorite dresses. "Since you didn't get me a birthday cake, I'm taking these. Oh, and I also like the headband you're wearing." Jenny snatched it from my head and put it on hers, and Mom didn't say a word. 2 years passed and there was still no news of Dad or his teammates. But I never lost hope. Several acting offers poured in after my movie stint, but I refused them all since I was more interested in studying and topping my grades. Besides, I knew if I got more popular, Jenny would resent it and find ways to make my life miserable. When I reached the 10th grade, a new girl named Cheryl joined our class mid-session. Our teacher made her sit with me so that I could help her catch up on the work she'd missed. But soon, I noticed something really weird about her. She didn't smile or laugh at all. Do you know what happens when an elephant feels dizzy? It elephants! What's a cow's favorite holiday? New Year's Eve! Soon, the whole class was gossiping about how weird Cheryl was. Someone even started a rumor that she was a robot. Then one day, I entered the classroom and saw Jenny's minions had pinned Cheryl to a wall and Jenny was tickling her. Why can't you laugh? Are you really a robot? Stop it. Leave her alone. I will, when she smiles. I'm sure Cheryl doesn't want to waste her smile on a moron like you. Just then, our teacher entered and everyone went back to their seats. After that incident, Cheryl and I grew super close. She told me that she had a rare condition called Mobius syndrome that made it impossible for her to have any facial expressions. The kids at my previous school kept bullying me, so I begged Mom to shift me to a new one. But I guess I'll always be a weirdo. Cheryl, you're perfect just the way you are. I'm gonna make sure no one makes you feel otherwise. I asked our teacher if Cheryl and I could organize workshops to educate kids about Mobius syndrome, and she gladly agreed. Our workshops were a great success. Every kid who attended told Cheryl how brave she was for talking about her condition, including our school's most popular jock, Chris.
You're awesome, Cheryl. Just the way you are.
OMG, did Chris just call me awesome? Pinch me, Aria, so I know it's not a dream. Even our principal praised us and told me it was heartwarming to see the efforts I'd put in to help Cheryl. A few days later, we had a debate competition in which both Cheryl and I participated. When the results were announced, I stood first and Cheryl stood second. We both hugged each other, but just then, Cheryl's mom marched up on stage and started yelling at her.
You always stood first in your previous school. What happened to you? Why have you suddenly turned stupid?
But she came in second, and that's pretty awesome too. You should be happy for her.
Of course you'd say that since you bagged the top spot. Cheryl, this girl's your competition. You need to stay careful.
Whatever did that mean? After that day, Cheryl and I participated in a few more competitions, all of which I won while she stood second or third. She didn't seem to mind, but I knew her mom was giving her a tough time for it. She thinks I was better off in my previous school. But doesn't she care about all the bullying you faced? She says because of my condition, it's something I have to learn to live with. And here I thought my stepmom was a witch. Months passed, and soon it was time for prom night. Cheryl had a massive crush on Chris since our workshop days, and she felt he liked her too. I think he's gonna ask me out for prom. I'm so excited. I've already decided what I'm gonna wear. Just then, I saw Chris heading towards us. But instead of asking Cheryl, he asked me out. I felt awful, and obviously, I politely turned him down. Why did you do that? The way he was looking at you, I think he really likes you. You're so lucky, Aria. Everyone likes you. Oh, I have my share of haters too. Besides, how can I go out with a boy my best friend has a crush on? Remember? Sisters before misters? Later that day, our science teacher had asked us to prepare a project and told us the best one would get a scholarship opportunity at a prestigious university in New York. I need to win this one. I'm pretty sure my stepmom wouldn't spend a single penny on my college education. And if I win this competition, Mom would finally stop breathing down my neck. No matter which of us wins, a pizza party with lots of ice cream is guaranteed. For the next few days, Cheryl and I got busy with our projects. When we brought them to school on the submission day, I was surprised to see how amazing her project was. This looks so incredible. I'm sure you're winning this time. You really think so? I spent the last 3 nights working on it. Just then, it was announced that we had to keep our projects in the auditorium for the teachers to review. After placing my project next to Cheryl's, I was about to leave when a hand roughly turned me around. How dare you agree to go out with Chris? I asked him out for prom night, but he told me he was taking you. What the fudge? First Cheryl and now Jenny? Did the entire school have a crush on that guy? I have no idea why he said that. He did ask me out, but I refused. You lying witch. Suddenly, Jenny pushed me hard and I landed straight on Cheryl's project. Oh God, Jenny, what did you do? I frantically tried saving Cheryl's project, but just then I saw her walk in.
What's taking you so long, Area?
My project! I'm sorry, Cheryl. It was an accident. Stop lying, Aria. I just saw you ruin this project. I tried to stop her, Cheryl, but she said she had to win this competition at all costs. I was shocked at how evil Jenny could be. I was about to slap her, but Cheryl caught my hand midair, and my heart broke to see the distrust in her eyes. I can't believe you'd stoop so low to win a competition. I should have believed my mom. All you ever cared about was winning. Our friendship never meant anything to you. That's not true. I tried to stop Cheryl, but she ran away with tears in her eyes as Jenny smirked at me. I was summoned to the principal's office, but given my spotless track record, I was let off after a stern lecture. After that day, Cheryl refused to talk to me and started hanging out with Jenny instead. Watching those two together made my blood boil, and I couldn't concentrate on my studies. For the first time, I got a C in science, my favorite subject. My home life was already a mess, and whatever little happiness I found in school was being destroyed by Jenny. On prom night, I was in my bed watching my favorite MSA videos when Jenny barged into my room, dressed like a wannabe model. How does it feel to be a loser, Aria? Sitting all alone on prom night in your tacky clothes? Why do you hate me so much? What have I ever done to you? Remember Mom's wedding day? I was the flower girl, yet everyone kept talking about how pretty you looked. And then I bagged that play, but you got chosen for a movie. You've always tried to one-up me. Aria's so pretty. Aria's a genius. Aria. I didn't do it intentionally. And is it really my fault that I'm good at what I do? No, but do you have any idea how that makes me feel? So technically, I should have stopped my growth just because you weren't growing at the same pace? You know what, Jenny? I am not responsible for your insecurities, and I am so done with you. The moment she left, I called Chris and told him I was ready to go to prom with him if he was still interested. He gladly agreed, and when I arrived at the party on Chris's arm, I could see Jenny's jaw drop to the floor. And then she looked angrier than a raging bull and came charging at me. But before she could reach me, someone stepped in between us. Don't you dare mess with my best friend. Cheryl? You said you wouldn't be attending the prom. Well, guess what? I changed my mind, and I am so glad that I did. How else would I have gotten the chance to hear you bragging to your friends about how you lied to ruin things between me and Aria? Jenny looked stunned for a moment. Then she tried to attack Cheryl, but before she could, a crowd of angry girls picked her up and threw her out. Cheryl apologized to me a lot, and I decided to give her another chance. Later that night, when Chris dropped me home, I opened the main door, but right then, a bag came flying at me. Thankfully, I dodged it just in time.
How dare you think I'll let you into this house after what you did to Jenny? Stealing the boy she likes? Humiliating her at prom? Take your bag and get lost. Go scrub someone else's toilets now. No one talks to my daughter like that.
It was Dad! I was thrilled to see him and ran straight into his arms. He'd listened to every word of what Mom said, and he was furious. Dad asked me if this is how I'd been treated in his absence, and he immediately sent Mom and Jenny packing. Dad then told me he'd been captured by the enemy and held hostage for 2 years. But then the government struck a deal with them and they released him. I missed you so much, Dad.
I missed you more, sweetheart.
As Dad pulled me in for a hug, I knew my life would be perfect again.
My sister Tito and I were playing in the playground when a boy called my name. Hey, Dami, you act so tough. Let's see if you can climb this tree before me. Bet you can't. Oh yeah? I am Dami, the Nigerian nightmare. Watch me. Yeah, come on, Dami. Show him what you got. But if she climbs before you, you owe $5. Got it? Deal. I got to the top within a minute, but right then, Mom appeared out of nowhere, and she had seen my stunt, and she looked furious.
Oh my God, what are you doing, Dami? Are you out of your mind? Get down at once.
Well, I tried to come down, but got stuck on a branch and ended up falling on Mom. Tito had a good laugh and collected the bet money from the boy. But the moment Mom turned to her, she made that innocent face of hers and then winked at me to stay quiet. Oh, I wish you could be like Tito. She is so perfect. Yep, perfect she was. In fooling Mom, Tito was obsessed with making money. She'd make bets, date rich guys, and one time even sold Mom's earrings without telling her just because she needed to buy the latest iPhone. But I never ratted my sister out because we were inseparable. She was my confidant and I was hers. Hi, my name is 𝗕𝗓𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘, and I am from Nigeria. Please like and subscribe. Ever since my sister Tito and I were kids, people always said how different we were from each other. While she looked like a Barbie, I may have looked like G.I. Joe. Her hair was so shiny that people on the streets begged to touch it. Mine looked like a bird's nest, and at times I could barely comb it. However, the most important difference, according to Mom, was that Tito was perfect and I wasn't. My Tito would be the perfect bride. Any man to marry her would be so lucky. A rich one. Mom, I want a rich one, please. Let's see if we can find a rich one for you. But 𝗕𝗓𝗖𝗍, I don't know how I'll get you out of the house. With all your hobbies like a boy, 𝗕𝗓𝗖𝗍, no girl climbs trees, fights, and definitely doesn't have short hair. You need to behave like a proper lady so some guy will fall in love with you and marry you. Yuck. Marry boys? Mom would always be talking about these things, but thank God Dad was different. He loved Tito and I equally and gave us the freedom to be ourselves.
Don't worry about 𝗕𝗓𝗖𝗍. No boy will be choosing her. She will be the one to choose a boy for herself.
One time when I was 12 and Tito was 15, we were walking home from school together. On our way, a really cute guy bumped into Tito, and the two started talking as if they had known each other forever. It was so boring, standing on the side being Tito's sidekick while the guy asked for her number and complimented on how pretty she was. Just then, I saw a crowd excitedly watching something on a TV at a storefront. When I joined them, I saw they were cheering for two girls in a boxing match. Who knew girls could box? Fascinating. When we reached home, Mom kept asking why we were so late, but all I could think about was the boxing match. That night, I watched tons of videos about women's boxing, and in a few days, I was practicing around the house. And it really drove Mom mad. She hated the idea of women being boxers and forbade me to even think about it. No daughter of mine is going to be a boxer. Got it? Fine. She could stop me from pursuing boxing as a profession, but she couldn't stop me from practicing at home. But one time, when I broke a vase that had my great-grandma's ashes, Mom gave up. Oh my God, just take her to some boxing academy. Please don't practice at home. Ever again. Yippee! Dad and I were ecstatic. Dad got me into a boxing academy, but since I was the only girl in that place, boys weren't keen on letting me practice in peace. As if it would scare me off. One time as I entered the gym room, I saw some boys practicing boxing on the punching bag. When I asked for a turn, they just laughed at me. Oh, little girl, your fragile fingers will hurt. Leave this to the boys. Why? Are you scared I'm gonna do better than you? I guess if I were you, I'd be scared too, little boy. The boy looked pissed, but moved aside to let me practice on the punching bag. It was my chance to show them what I had. I totally destroyed the punching bag. After that day, no one ever called me a little girl. I had been in the academy for just over 6 months when my dad got an amazing job in the city. Now my academy was just a 2-minute walk away from my new home. We were all so happy about living in the big city. We had heard so much about it, and I was excited to live in it. Tito was excited for a different reason. I love the city. Did you notice how rich the guys are here? I am sure I'll find a rich guy, make him fall in love with me, marry him, and live my best life. God, Tito, can you think of anything other than boys and getting married? Why not focus on studies? With the grades you are getting, how will you finish high school? I don't need to finish high school when I have a rich husband, duh. We had only been in the city for 6 months when I got some surprising news. Tito was getting married. Tito's boyfriend, 𝗕𝗔𝗦𝗬, was the son of one of the richest men in town. He and Tito looked totally in love. Well, Tito a little more than him. I wasn't a fan of 𝗕𝗔𝗦 because he was going to take my sister away from me, but seeing Tito over the moon made me happy. Soon my house was swarmed with wedding activities. Just a day before Tito's wedding, I was so fed up and went to a local restaurant to get some air. When I walked in, I saw Tito's boyfriend and I decided to say hello. As I got closer, a girl passed me by and hugged 𝗕𝗓𝗏. And then they both kissed. What the heck? This dude was cheating on my sister. I so wanted to punch him, but the moment he saw me, he smirked. The audacity. Gonna tell your sister I'm cheating on her? Yes, and she is so gonna dump your sorry butt, you cheater. Oh, please. Your sister is so in love with me, she won't believe you. Get used to it. We are going to be in-laws. At least temporarily. I just need to marry a girl of my dad's choice to access my trust fund, and then I'll be free. You know, I can pay you for keeping your mouth shut for a while. I saw red hearing his words and gave him a much-deserved punch before leaving. At home, I tried to tell Tito the truth, but she didn't believe me and told me to keep my mouth shut. One word and I swear I'm gonna stop you from becoming a stupid boxer. Got it? You know how much she adores me. She'll listen to me. But Tito, zip it, Dami, and let me get my beauty sleep. Ugh! I went to my room and I was so mad Tito was acting like a fool. The next day, Tito was dressed in all white, and as she started to say her vows, I just couldn't keep my calm and stood up. This marriage is a scam. He has a girlfriend and he is marrying my sister just to access his trust funds. Tito, this worm is cheating on you. Dami, stop it. Shut up. You have no proof. Yeah, I have. That black eye I gave you yesterday, but I think you need another one too. Before I could get a hold of Econ, he turned and ended up falling into the huge wedding cake. The wedding was a mess. Tito crying, Mom screaming, Dad angry, and all the guests running out of the hall. But at least my sister dodged the bullet that was her cheating groom-to-be. I knew Tito was upset, and I needed to talk to her, but just as I went to her room, she pushed me out. You ruined everything. You ruined my big day. I hate you, Dami. I'll hate you forever. At home, I thought Mom would blow up, but to my surprise, for the first time in forever, she hugged me and thanked me for saving Tito from that cheating jerk. But Tito is so angry at me, Mom. Don't worry, she'll be fine. Give her some time. Days passed, but Tito wasn't ready to forgive me. Every time she'd see my face, she'd walk in the opposite direction. It was like she hated me with every fiber of her being. I had to ignore her, so I focused hard on my dream, and one day, I saw a poster for a boxing tryout. The winner had the opportunity to represent the country in an annual global competition. I submitted the form and got a positive reply. I was ecstatic. But on the day of the tryouts, something unbelievable happened. I woke up to the sound of my mom crying like a banshee, and then she fainted. I had no idea what had happened, but when I saw a picture of Tito on her phone with that cheating jerk Econ, I knew what had happened. Tito had run away and married that butthead. By the time Mom was conscious, I knew the bus for the tryouts had already left. My chance had been blown. I was sad for days, for both missing the tryouts and the fact that Tito got married to that cheat. Wow, life was a topsy-turvy ride, but I pulled myself together and applied again the next year. Like before, I got selected and represented my country on a huge platform, and in the end, returned home with a gold medal. You have made us so proud. I always thought Tito will. Mom, come on, cheer up. She is happy wherever she is. There was no stopping me. I won many championships and even started coaching young girls in the academy. But one time when I returned home, nothing in the world could prepare me for what I was about to witness. Tito had returned with a baby. So he left you, didn't he? Huh? Of course he didn't. I'm here to visit Mom and Dad. Just shut up and mind your own business. Well, Mom and Dad patched up with Tito, but her visit was just extending. It had been 2 weeks and she hadn't left. I knew that good-for-nothing husband of hers had dumped her. One night, as I woke up to get some water, I heard the baby crying in Tito's room. I peeked inside, and Tito wasn't there, so I picked up the baby and took her to my room. Gosh, my niece was a miracle from above. I had never seen a baby as beautiful as her. We instantly bonded, and in no time she was asleep in my arms. When I went to put her back, I was shocked to see Tito counting money. But the moment she noticed me, she hid her hands behind her back. What do you think you are doing? How dare you touch my baby? She was crying. And that money, where did you get it from? Huh? It's mine. I'm married to a super rich guy, remember? Give me my baby and stay away from my child. I don't want her turning into a Hulk like you. Look at yourself. There's nothing girly about you anymore. Tito, tell me, are you in some kind of trouble? I can help you. Shut up. I don't need your help. I'll never need your help. Get out of my room now. Something was sure fishy with Tito. I knew my sister too well, even when she was being a jerk to me. So the next day when she left the house with her baby, I followed her. She kept walking and finally stopped near the seaside. What was she up to? As I was lost in my thoughts, I saw her husband. The moment Tito saw him, she threw money in his face. But instead of being angry, the jerk smirked. Here's the money you asked for. I can't believe I had to steal from my mom and dad because of you. Just leave me alone now. Don't ask for my daughter's custody. We are done with you. Just as I thought, that cheat was blackmailing Tito. Wow, that's a lot of money. Now that my trust fund is empty, I am glad I got you to bring in some cash. That sister of yours is making quite the money. On second thought, I'll hold on to my baby girl. Having her with me guarantees my supply of money. All of a sudden, he started to run, and that's when Tito let out a scream. Instantly, I lunged and grabbed him by the collar, and Tito came in time to take the baby safely away. I always knew you were trash. This was long overdue. Saying that, I gave the jerk a much-deserved black eye. Once 𝗕𝗏𝗏 was taken away by the cops for blackmailing Tito for money, my sister came running to me with my beautiful niece in her arms. Dami, how did you know? I followed you. You looked worried. I had to find out. I'm so sorry, Dami. So sorry for being a jerk, for not listening to you, for not admitting that I made the most foolish mistake ever by trusting 𝗕𝗏𝗏, Can you forgive me, Dami, please? Tito, shh. The baby is asleep. Look, I might not be able to forgive you right away, but I promise I'll always have your back and will always love my niece. Dami, and I promise I will wait for you to completely forgive me. Strong people like you will always find it in their hearts to forgive others, but they don't forget, so they won't be hurt again.